Alright guys, I'm gonna get this started right now. Sorry, it's taking me a minute to get everything figured out here. Just give me one more moment. Sadly, it's been a very long week and my brain is malfunctioning apparently. Oh man. But yes, do feel free to vote on the poll. It is an actual poll. I was speaking to my wife about it. I was joking around telling her that some guys I know were going to be at FatCon in January. And I'm like, you know, I could go with them. I don't really want to. And she's like, hey, you have my whole blessing to go. And I'm like, I don't know how much I could subject myself to, you know, to be honest. What is FatCon Oblivion? It is exactly what it sounds like. It is a mecca for big people, for very fat people. Hey, let me look it up. Let me go ahead and look it up real quick while I'm thinking about it. FatCon Seattle. It's going on at the end of the month. So, well, hang on a second. This one says January 16th to 18th. Oh, you know what? I was looking at the 2025 dates. This is 2026. Yeah, an obese people convention. It is very unappealing. So let me pull this up over here. Hang on. So it says FatCon is back for 2026, January 16th to the 18th in Seattle. The biggest fat convention. I love that they're just straight up saying the word fat. Like, they're not trying to sugarcoat it, no pun intended. On the West Coast is celebrating its third year. FatCon has hours of programming, amazing keynote speakers, a fashion show, a marketplace, and more. I'm surprised that they don't mention food, first of all. FatCon is geared towards generating fat joy and building a fat community. You absolutely don't want to miss out. There's no way they'd let me in. They wouldn't let me in, dude. At my, I'd say below average body weight and body type, there's no way. 3-day convention centered around celebrating fat humans, fat bodies, and fat lives. At our convention, you can listen to exciting speakers, learn at a workshop, meet up with people who share your interests or identity. Well, I can identify as being fat, right? There you go. Let me see what else. Shop at the marketplace, embrace your inner model, and walk the fashion show. Oh, I'm so doing that. Experience joy and build relationships in a community that supports and uplifts the voices of people of size. Yeah, the varicose veins, you gotta watch out for those. Our mission is to improve the lives of fat humans through art, health, public policy, and community outreach. By improving visibility and uplifting the voices of people of size, we don't seek acceptance, we seek fat liberation. If you want to be liberated of your fat, why don't you lose some weight? I'm just saying. You are not wrong, Tekla. Oh my god, look at this. FatCon thanks Big Fig, the mattress for a bigger figure. Dash Moto and Goth Fox Designs, stripper bits for your stripper bits. Oh my god. Let's see. Ooh, press. And well, let's look at tickets. Hang on. First off, how much is it? Can I check a new Korean game? JHP, I probably already have it pulled up. That was actually the first thing I was going to look at was a new game. FatCon 2026. Okay, get tickets. Let me see here. I gotta find out if I actually go through with this. Yeah, $200. Good God. VIP general admission. They might be sold out, to be honest. Oh, I have to accept. Oh, okay. Oh, see, I can't even go. Nope. Oh, general admission down here. Here we go. Oh my god. Ticket redeem location. They're not going to go back for the whole event, are they? Kata would not be that. He doesn't hate himself that much. Wellcon, who would pay for that? So, Atreus and Kata are going to be out here in January. I don't know why they're coming to Seattle in January. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. And FatCon is going on. So Apparently that's what they're coming out here for. But yes, after fees and taxes, it would cost me $235. I was joking around mentioning it to my wife, and she's like, "Hey, you can leave your wedding ring at home. You have my full blessing." I'm like, "No, I really don't want to go. Like, please don't make me go." Oh my god. If it's encouraging health, that sounds a lot better than the usual self-delusion. No. It's not encouraging health. It's encouraging being happy and okay with the way you are. It's all about embracing the fat lifestyle. It's not about losing weight. Oh my god. We strongly recommend COVID testing every day and masking. These are those people. Sounds like a great time to go to Vancouver instead. Yeah, dude, you're not wrong. She thought it'd be hilarious. Sounds funny that Atreus and Kata are into fatties. It's really funny, Tackle. Well, they're both black, but I don't think either one of them is like into like really big women. I mean, Kata has that thing going around where everyone thinks he's like the connoisseur of feet and toes and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if he's actually into feet or not. Feet are disgusting. Like, they don't bother me if they're clean, but it's like, I don't want to stick a foot in my mouth. That's just nasty. Yeah, masking from what exactly? Maybe they think if you put a mask on, all that extra breathing will make you lose weight faster. Paying $200 to see a bunch of whales on wheels. Yeah, apparently. Apparently. Okay, hang on a second. What could they possibly have going on that would make it worth your time? Let me see here. Let's go back to, this is through Eventany, huh? Interesting. Ticket schedule. Woo, schedule. What do they have on the schedule? General convention floor hours, 10 to 6, 10 to 6, 10 to 2. Well, yeah, of course it's 10 to 2 on Sunday. They got to take a day off to get off them gams, you know? Panels, workshops, meetups. They don't even have the panels on here. Guests, speakers, past keynote and featured present. Oh, they got the fat black mermaid. Bless you. They got Tigris Osborne, JLo Rose Sullivan. This appears to be a fat man in drag. Like, there's no way that's probably not a woman. Whoever the hell Andy Neal is. Big Burr. World famous Bob. I don't know any of these people. Did your comment mentioning the plague get censored? I don't know. Mad cow disease, yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything other than COVID testing. The plague only exists in Los Angeles. Now, I'm sure we have some of that here, too. What does it mean, Stellar Blade mods banned? We'll get to it in a minute. There was some false information going around about mods that were banned for Stellar Blade, but then apparently there was actually an actual mod that Nexus Mods removed. No, it's not all the mods. It's one in particular. No, they're not all removed. No, but people were saying that there was like a mod that was removed, and then it turns out it wasn't. I don't know. Kilted Cajun made a video about it. I honestly was going to try to get a video done tonight instead of doing a live stream, but I'm so freaking tired after a week of freaking putting up with 12-year-old boys that are all bitching and fighting on the same all-star team and making my life miserable. I'm like, I have no brain cells left. I have no energy. I have no enthusiasm for a video. I just don't. So yeah, this would be interesting. I told Kata, I'm like, I'm gonna have to grift really hard to pay for this because I'm not taking money out of my own pocket to go to this thing. Like, I'll live stream it. Shit, I'll live stream. I'll make shorts. I'll turn this into content for sure. Not the kind of content anybody wants to see. Yeah, there's like no information about what to do when you get in there. That's crazy. I see dead people. I see fat people. Future dead people. So, JHP, is this the Korean game you were talking about? I think this one's Korean. It is called Blood Message, and I pulled the trailer up on YouTube. I figured we could all watch it real quick here. Let me switch screens real quick. I saw somebody talking about this on Twitter, and so I pulled it up. There's this new game called Blood Message. They just had a reveal trailer come out. It says the details coming to PC and consoles. Oh yeah, NetEase. Isn't NetEase Korean? I'm pretty sure they are. First AAA single-player title, narrative-driven linear action adventure game by Thunder Fire Entertainment. Based around the historical event of the Dunhuang Uprising. Not sure how I pronounced that. Set during the final years of the Tang Dynasty in the year 848, you play as a nameless messenger who embarks on a perilous 1,000-mile eastward journey to deliver a message that holds the fate of his homeland. You cross lethal landscapes, including desolate deserts, vast wilderness of the East and Central Asia, survive brutal sieges, and unforgiving terrain and overwhelming odds. Mudang Two Hearts, Blood is Chinese. Okay, Mudang. Let me look up Mudang after this one. This one looks pretty interesting though. Yeah, NetEase, it's Chinese. Why did I not think of that? Which one is which studio is making Mudang then? Setting provides a cultural landmark of Chinese history that frames the story with customs, culture, and rich history of the era. Narrative-driven gameplay anchored in cinematic storytelling, visceral, realistic combat blending stealth and survival mechanics. Deeply emotional journey exploring themes of family, honor, sacrifice, and cultural identity. I could play this little minute 12-second snippet, but I'm just going to play the whole trailer. Figure that's probably smarter. Alright, I need to unmute YouTube. I always have this. No, it's not muted. Never mind. Ooh, a scorpion. Scorpion King, it's The Rock. TPS? Okay. I'm gonna get rid of my webcam for a second. We'll go full screen for this. Dude, this game reeks of Unreal Engine 5, like holy crap. You wonder if the CCP is going to try to rewrite history using games much like Thomas Lockley and SBI. It wouldn't shock me to see that, but it's really funny. I'm getting those like heavy tech demo vibes, like what we saw from Witcher 4. Like there are parts like this looks like gameplay here, but then him like interacting with stuff almost felt like, I don't know, like we're getting tech demo. Yeah, I mean, everything's been done before, to be honest. You're right about that. But the thing that I'm worried about is not so much like if the finished product is good, but it's like how much of what we're seeing here is actually going to be in the game. Because, like I said, it feels more like, you know, they're just trying to show off how pretty everything is, and we're not really seeing much actual gameplay in it, you know? They're pretty known for copying shit. It does look like Black Myth Wukong, that's for sure.
没有我的帮助，你走不出这片沙漠。
It goes to Tsushima too now. Chinese versus Japanese. I've been looking at Crimson Desert. I've seen some stuff about it. Doesn't look like a magic type game. Is it not woken based? I mean, it's a Chinese studio making it, so you're not gonna get like wokeness in terms of like American left-wing politics necessarily. You could get like Oblivion was saying, are we gonna get like revisionist history from like the good side of like the Chinese perspective? Who knows? Blood Message is quite a good looking game. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But again, all we're seeing is like the pretty cutscenes and stuff. There were a few moments in that trailer that could have been actual combat, but it looked more like tech demo type combat, you know? Where's the diversity? You know, it's really funny about the whole Asians hating black people thing, because when I was talking to Mari about that before, she indicated that that's not really a thing so much like in Japan as people make it out to be, but it's more about just they don't like people who don't respect their culture. So it's more about like if you're going to be a dick and, you know, mess up with like their sacred stuff over there, they don't care if you're black or white. If you do that kind of shit, they're going to have a problem with you anyways. So yeah, it's mostly cinematic cutscenes, to be honest. Not a whole lot to work with. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Now that we've got that trailer out of the way. Although you had mentioned looking up, what was that game, JHP, that you were talking about? Let me see here. You said Mudang 2 Hearts. Let me see here. Hang on a second. 2 Hearts. No, not Bad Bunny. I'm just going to... Oh, this was from 12 days ago. This was from the Xbox Showcase. Somehow I missed this one. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about this. All right. I'm going to bring this one up first real quick here. Hang on. Because I haven't actually watched this one yet. Yeah, it looked like the post-boss fight combat. You're right.
주권 국가의 자주적 결정을 누가 허락하는가? 만약 이 결정이 패권 국가의 특정 정치 집단의 이익을 저해한다면 당신의 특정 행동이 대중의
Closed caption turn on. Let me start that back over. Although let me remove my camera, otherwise you can't even see the closed caption. Hang on. Yeah, they've said there's going to be another Assassin's Creed in China, I believe.
주권 국가의 자주적 결정을 누가 허락하는가? 만약 이 결정이 패권 국가의 특정 정치 집단의 이익을 저해한다면 당신의 특정 행동이 대중의 의사결정에 영향을 미칠 수 있으며 반대로 누군가는 당신의 의사결정에 영향을 주려 한다는 것을 인지할 때 자신만의 온전한 입장을 세울 수 있지 않을까? 당신의 입장은 온전한 본인의 판단인가? 그렇게 믿고 있거나 믿고 싶을 뿐.
Oh, I love Chinese food, yeah. At least Americanized Chinese food.
당신은 무엇 때문에 분노하는가? 당신의 분노는 스스로 결정한 것인가? 누군가 당신의 분노를 이용한다. 지정태. 지정태.
Right on tech layup. You know, I don't know how I felt about that trailer, to be honest. It still felt like a lot of like cutscenes or whatever. Didn't seem like it's finished. Obviously, I don't know when this game's supposed to be coming out. You haven't played a good stealth game in a while. To be honest, as much as I love good stealth games, I also kind of get bored with them. Like, it's the funniest thing. Good stealth in games is a hard thing to find because a lot of games the stealth is boring as shit. But, you know, there are games where the stealth is good. I just tend to avoid games where you have to stealth your whole way through it. I don't know. Call of Duty Korea. That's an Asian girl, you bigot? Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, no, honestly, this looks like what modern Splinter Cell could have been. That's what I'm saying. Like, back in the day, if you'd have told me, like, 20 years ago, hey, do you want to play the new Splinter Cell? I would have been like, hell yeah. Now, I couldn't be bothered to play a game like that. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. Metal Gear Phantom Pain is a good stealth game. My problem is I just have that natural urge to just go fight whatever it is that I'm sneaking around. I hate feeling like I'm wasting time sneaking, you know? They're playing footage. Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying it's... Footage only gets you so far. You know, looking at game footage or cutscenes or tech demos and all that kind of crap, it only gets you so far. And unfortunately, a lot of times they try to, like, you know, hook you with the game footage or the cutscenes and all that shit. And what you end up seeing in the long run is not exactly the same thing that they advertised at the beginning. Developer released gameplay videos several times while they were in development. It's been several years. Well, hopefully it's a good game then. Hopefully it's the finished product is actually good. So here we go, guys. Nexus Mods was sold apparently a couple days ago, and this has been covered by, you know, a wide variety of people. I'm just mentioning this for context for this next thing about Stellar Blade because it's been an ongoing issue with mods on Nexus Mods, right? I like when they let you go ham, but when you do, you get slaughtered. Yeah. Dead Space Remake use cutscenes than real-time render. I prefer games have cutscenes, obviously, that are made using the in-game graphics. I mean, you know, good cinematic scenes with like really high-polished, high-quality effects and all that are awesome. But I prefer games like Halo where the cutscenes are literally the same graphics you're just using in the game, you know? I want to go to FatCon and just grab the Chinese food. I don't even know how good the food is going to be there, man. I have no idea. Alright, so it says, Chosen, the new owner of Nexus Mods, tries to assure fans that mods will always be free. We were talking about this on Monday's stream, I think it was. And it's really funny because a lot of people, like, I've used a few mods here or there. It's not something I do an awful lot of when I'm playing games. And I didn't realize that a lot of mod sites, you could pay for like a premium membership or a subscription, right? I had no idea. I assumed mods were mostly created by individual people who want to, you know, share that with the modding community, and you could just download whatever you want to, play it the way you want to. And that was kind of the extent of it. I didn't realize that these mod companies, these websites, had so much financial investment in user developed mods, you know? There gonna be enough food to go around. Well, it is in Seattle. There's a lot of food around Seattle. Real-time cutscenes help in changing costumes for cutscenes. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool when you have a, you know, actual, when you have a cutscene where your weapons and your outfits change to match what you're actually using in the game. That's pretty cool. I don't know, Mahendra. I don't know why anybody would pay Nexus Mods any money, but I guess it's been a thing for a while that you can have like a premium subscription or whatnot. Not pre-rendered cutscenes, they're very annoying. Yeah. So it says, for the most part, Foldino's message was that few things would change. And this is, of course, the previous owner of Nexus. He went on to say that Chosen doesn't claim ownership of any of the mods, nor will it charge users to download them. Foldino indicated that lifetime premium... Here's the thing. Lifetime premium subscriptions and free accounts will stay as they are. So what's the difference between a lifetime premium subscription on Nexus Mods and a free account? Like, I assume... Okay, so this mod app that I downloaded, that I'm in talks about maybe doing a sponsorship with them or not. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it, right? Because the selling point for all these mods, these apps, these websites, is to get you to spend money for some sort of premium service, right? So that means that there are going to be mods, obviously, that are paywalled or locked behind, you know, a paywall to get to. So what I don't understand is if they're not making the mods themselves, how do they have the right to charge you as a user to access them? That's what I don't get. I mean, is it because they host the site, and so because they pay to host the site, that's how they recoup their money? Nexus should only be for free mods, not paid mods like Creation Club. Yeah, unskippable cutscenes are always a pain in the ass too. At least if you can skip them after the first time you see it, then I'm okay with it. Like if the first time a cutscene comes and you can't skip it until you've played it before, I don't have a problem with that. But afterwards, you should be able to skip any cutscene you want. You liked them back in the Final Fantasy, what is that, 8? But back then they couldn't do it with the game graphics these days because Nexus Mods is filled with ads. If it's filled with ads, then they shouldn't be charging for premium subscriptions, you know? If they're trying to recoup their money by running ads, then they shouldn't be charging people to access mods that they're not designing themselves. Unless Nexus has a section, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, where they're paying modders to create mods specifically for the Nexus Mods website. It gives the premium... Wait, the premium just removes ads? Seriously? That's all premium does on their website? What about... Can't you just go to Nexus Mods with like Brave Browser or whatever and block the ads on their websites? I mean, there are plenty of other ways to block ads. He says, honestly, we think it was done right. It enabled healthy growth while supporting the community. We have no plans to change the core of how premium works. It gives users choice based on their needs, and that's a good thing. I don't understand. What is it that they're paying for besides ad removal? Monetization is hard, and Nexus Mods is a complex platform. What matters most is continuing to support mod authors, delight users, and keep the lights on. We're not changing the core model, no aggressive monetization, no paid mods. So that they say there's no paid mods. Okay. We're aiming for fewer ads. We'll take a community first listening approach. Won't compromise on what's made Nexus Mods special. I thought premium provided uncapped download speeds. Well, apparently it also removes ads, it sounds like. I don't know. Oh, dude, that happened to me, Oblivion, when I was first playing through Expedition 33. And I got to the boss right before the end of Act 1. And it took me a few tries to beat the boss, right? It took me a little bit to figure out the strategy on how to beat the boss. And I did not know how to freaking skip the cutscene. I had to Google it, like, how do you skip cutscenes on this game? There's no key for that. And I figured out you apparently have to hold the E key on the keyboard. But yeah, it was like, I kept getting back to the boss. I'm like, holy shit, if I have to go through this cutscene all over again and then I die and have to do it again, I'm going to be done. So a free account is capped on download speeds. Okay. Interesting. Borderlands 4 Super Deluxe Deluxe Edition's only 172 Canadian, yeah. You know, we were talking about the whole collector's edition thing, and I think Denial of Service, I think you were saying on Discord that you didn't see what the big problem was. The issue was that they sold it as a collector's edition without the game, and then they actually came back and said that they were renaming it the Echo Bundle, I believe, because selling it as a, quote, collector's edition implied that the game came with all the extras that you were purchasing. So, I mean, they pretty much admitted that that was the problem, that they needed to change the name on it. But still, I think it's asinine. I think it's super overpriced. But if someone wants to spend $200 on a figurine from a game that comes with some, you know, secondary pack, which is just merch, that, you know, that people are going to do that. So whatever. I skipped your text. Mahendra, I'm not going to read every single thing you say. Have I seen the Pride post on Square Enix Twitter? They're promoting gay what? Gay man. What's Maneg? Manager? Manga? Oh, are they promoting a gay manga? Trump confirmed no American boots will be deployed to Iran. I don't know if that's good enough, dude. NS, honestly, I would prefer he say we're just gonna stay out of it completely. You know? Manga, okay. No, Denial of Service, I get that. My point was that they labeled it a collector's edition when it shouldn't have been some... Like, typically when you have a collector's edition, correct me if I'm wrong, for anything, it includes a base item plus extra stuff. So they said, they actually quote tweeted Randy Pitchford on it and said, well, we're renaming it the Echo Bundle to avoid confusion. So, like they make it easy to accidentally hit. That's almost worse. I've had to reload saves from hours because I accidentally skipped a video I wasn't expecting. That has happened to me too. That does suck, especially on the first playthrough of a game, and you're really enjoying the game, especially if you like the story, and then you skip it and it's like, oh my god. Well, fair enough, Denial. You're not wrong about that. They would most likely just be using Navy and Air Force. Still, I don't know. Again, my opinion doesn't matter. The politicians are going to do whatever the hell they want. Yeah, no, we were always going to get involved. Okay, so it says, update to this story. We received a response to my question about whether Nexus Mods' hardline stance on diversity and inclusion and its approach to moderation and service of that will change under new leadership. What is this? What is this? Wait. Where's the... Wait, Nathan Grayson's writing this? No. This was... Hold the phone. What is this? Why is it going to Nathan Grayson's Blue Sky account? I'm so confused right now. Image. Oh, here we go. Hang on a second. Nathan Grayson on Blue Sky says, update to this story. Received a response to my questions about whether Nexus Mods' hardline stance on diversity and inclusion and its approach to moderation and service of that will change. The response here is, we're fully committed to ensuring the site continues to be a welcoming place for as many users as possible. The Nexus Mods community is incredibly passionate and varied. As a hub that connects countless sub-communities both on-site and off-site, it naturally becomes a space for both collaboration and at times confrontation. Our users span the globe and bring with them a range of cultural, political, and ideological perspectives, which inevitably shape the conversations and interactions that happen here. Our plan is one of continuity, and our focus on bringing value to mod creators and mod users alike will keep moving us forward. That's actually not a bad non-answer. The problem is that this line here about how our users bring with them a wide range of cultural, political, and ideological perspectives. The problem with that line is that Nexus Mods has a history of banning people for one ideological belief and not the other, you know? Nintendo still can't get rid of its greatest weakness, third-party support, yeah. How will it affect Stellar Blade mods? It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Regards from AJ. Hey, how's it going? Let me see here. Nexus Mods is crap. Yeah, most people believe that. Well, NS, the thing is that there's quickly becoming a lot of third-party sites that host different mods that get banned from Nexus Mods. So there's for sure you'd want the cloth map from the collector's edition, though. I'm a sucker for maps. Don't get me wrong. Like, at some point, I'm gonna get my old copy of not Skyrim. I didn't play Skyrim. Crap, Morrowind. I have the whole Morrowind paper map. I think it's got the expansion pack map also that has the other regions on it. I want to get that framed or something to put on my wall. You want PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo to remove all the shovelware BS? Well, then Sungrand Studios is going to be out of a job, man. Sorry, that one was too easy. I had to say it. Oh my god. All right. So, again, probably not an answer that's going to satisfy Nathan Grayson. But Nathan Grayson says, my read, those sure are words. This guy here says, what a long way to say no comment. What a long way to say no. Maybe Nexus is going to get more based. NS, I made a video on my second channel about it. I think I posted it yesterday afternoon. That was cold but funny. I know, right? Nexus used to find it up to a point. Their mod manager has been a saving grace and also a train wreck for years. The fact they get upsy with specific mods is why some people dislike the site. Right. It's a case-by-case basis. It's not a straight-up, we're going to ban everybody who likes these mods or everybody who agrees with this thing or that thing. It's a case-by-case situation. So what I was talking about in terms of Stellar Blade was this thing right here. So a couple days ago, there was a mod that was removed from Nexus Mods, and it was some mod for Stellar Blade, right? Stellar Blade. There's a shit ton of mods for Stellar Blade that lets you do any number of unspeakable things with Eve and change all sorts of things. That one mod, I guess, in question was removed because some violation of terms of service by the host or the author of the mod, right? That was the thing. And so, like I said, Kilted Cajun and a few people covered it and said it wasn't because the mod itself was too spicy or something they didn't like. It had something to do with the person who had actually created the mod himself. So you go to like Nexus Mods and look at Stellar Blade, there are a assload of mods, no pun intended, that can change the game in all sorts of not safe for work ways. But apparently there was one that was posted, this was posted this morning, that says, Stellar Blade Kaya, I'm not sure who Kaya is, I'm not at this point in the game yet. Bare Legs mod has been removed from Nexus Mods, no report from the author yet. So apparently this character who has shorts on, you can give her bare legs. Like, it's not even that big of a change. Like, literally, that we're talking about like, what, 9 inches of fabric and that's it. This mod that gives her bare legs was removed for whatever reason. And you can see right here, it says removed by staff. The mod you're looking for is removed by a member of staff, right? Put on base mods, yeah. No, mod sites aren't supposed to be biased. And here's the thing. Shiranui, I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. I'm not even going to pretend to. Sungrand's situation, here's my long and short of it when it comes to him. He's a left-wing person who fell into the right-wing side of things because the things he was saying agreed more with like a modern right-leaning ideology than left. He just wanted, you know, everyone to get along, and he wanted the activists out of gaming, but he was also trying to protect like the LGBT people as well. So he wanted to go and stand up for everybody and say, we all need to get along, but let's get the activists out. Then the Nintendo stuff came up where he wanted to be a shill for Nintendo, and that kind of broke him. And that's just kind of like the long and the short of it, in my opinion. So at this point, the guy, you know, best of luck. I'm done like talking about Sungrand and covering him because I just don't even know what to think of anymore. The staff must be dirty-minded. It's kind of like when they see an anime character. Did you guys see Shoe on Head's video or Asmongold cover it about the average male fantasy? And it's literally this anime. This movie where this guy takes care of a girl who's in a wheelchair, and the comments were like, oh, the guy just wants a girl that can't run away from him, and he wants a girl to abuse. They were basically treating this whole thing like men are evil because they want somebody who wants to depend on them. They want somebody who wants to rely on them. And that's because men are evil, sick, and twisted, right? It's pretty insane. We've all seen these games where they put extra clothes on the characters, yeah. Well, in certain situations, you want as much clothing on certain characters as possible. Like the cast of Concord, you would not want to see naked. Just saying, you know. Oh my god. Playing Total Warhammer 3 and listening, my boy. That's a nice morning for me. Oh yeah. She's got some hilarious videos because she's kind of like on her trad wife arc, which is hilarious because she was like, for the longest time, she was a Bernie bro, basically. Men want women and women want to be happy together. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Well, then I saw this thing about these women that collect these lifelike dolls and pretend that they're real babies and then they treat them like babies. I'm like, you know, an easier alternative to that that's far less creepy and weird, you could just maybe actually have real babies and have kids like a non-freaky weirdo, you know? That's another possibility. Thing I've noticed for some time now is the people whom were once left became right because the progressives have gone so far left. I mean, yeah, we've seen that time and time again where it's like, I didn't leave the left left me, and that kind of thing. It's true. Nexus goes full pay, I'm out, but the other sites are crap. I hate to say that. We need some new free mod site. Yeah, I don't know. She's exactly your type. I think she's kind of scary, and I get that appeals to a lot of guys, but I'd be worried, you know? I'd be worried. Like, if you piss her off one night and fall asleep, you might not wake up the next morning. So Kata, of course, says, so that's not okay, but this is okay, Nexus Mods. And, of course, talking about the trans masculine vajayjay for the male V on Cyberpunk. Again, a mod that allows you to swap body parts, I guess, for your character on Cyberpunk, because that's inclusive. Yeah, she's a recent mom, if I'm not mistaken. Have I ever seen Con Man? Is that a movie? I don't even want to think about that, guys. Oh my god. Could be a fan of something, but it shouldn't be to the point where you end up selling your soul to it. Sungrand should have learned that. Yeah, well, Sungrand, again, he makes Nintendo shovelware, and I said that kind of like in jest, but when I started to go down the rabbit hole and people were talking about him, hang on, Jess is asking about next weekend. Oh, we got the Star Trek reading going up next Sunday, I guess. Oh my god, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I might not even be in town. My daughter has softball games. My son's got baseball games coming up next weekend. I'm just gonna die, guys. No, his was because he's trying to be like the king of Nintendo shovelware games. And he didn't want to like burn his bridges with Nintendo. So when the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, everything's great, everything's awesome. You should absolutely pay $5,000 for it. Don't question, just consume. And it's like, dude, you've been speaking out about like evil corporations and, you know, bad practices and anti-consumer practices and anti-gamer practices. And here comes Nintendo, and you're not going to say, you know, shit about them, you know. It was an internet-funded TV series. Oh, okay. All right. Savvy says either both mods should be okay or neither mod's okay. That's all people want. That's real equality. I don't know why fictional mods for fiction need regulating. I'm going to disagree only because of specific things, and I don't like going down that rabbit hole. But here we are in 2025. As our species grow softer, thanks to the bottom 5%, that is also true. The whole... Okay, there's a reason that you can't have depictions of certain people under a certain age doing a certain thing. I don't care that they're fictional. I don't want to see that, and I agree that those certain things should not be legal. Now, am I going to say go after somebody rather than going after a real abuser? I mean, I'd rather we don't have anybody abusing or pretending to abuse kids, but still, like I said, that's a very messy rabbit hole I don't want to go down at all. But of course, we've even had the CEO of ShiftUp coming out praising the modding of his game, also rejecting the idea that it needed to be censored, saying that once the game is purchased, it belongs to the user. This is a nice idea, you know, Mudahar levels of nonsense. God, that could go some... Oh, you're talking about how he said don't buy the Switch 2, but then he bought the Switch 2 to review it. Here's the thing, Truth. Here's the thing. I can understand his reasoning. I can understand his reasoning as somebody who has a channel with 1.5 million subs or 2 million subs or 3 million, however many Some Ordinary Gamers has. I think it's probably closer to 3 million at this point. I can't remember. If he was going to say, this is terrible, this is anti-consumer, but I have this massive channel, I'll review the Switch 2, and I can tell you guys if it's a piece of shit or if it's actually worth the money that I paid for it, and then you can make your own decisions from there. It's kind of like one streamer, one, Hypnotic, one Veridark, one Critical Drinker going and seeing a movie or something. It's one person purchasing a ticket or a game or a console and trying it out versus the mass majority of people going out and buying it. And then he's giving you his, full honest opinion about it. But he said, don't buy the thing. And then he went and bought the thing and is like, well, yeah, but I need it to review it. And it's like, but you just said you shouldn't buy it, right? Base director, why don't he tell Nexus Mods, don't delete mods since I approved of adult mods for adult games? Because he doesn't have any control over Nexus Mods. He's a CEO of a game studio. He has no control over that, Nexus is going to remove mods that they feel violate some, law or term of service or something that they're worried that they're going to get in trouble for. What I find funny, though, is this response to Nathan Grayson from Nexus Mods basically telling him to go kick rocks. That's pretty interesting. I'm actually surprised that they didn't, fall down and say, oh, no, we're a completely inclusive and diverse modding site, and we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and represented, and that, that's actually surprising seeing Nexus not say that. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of hope for him. But again, this idea that the game belongs to the user, it's a nice idea. Unfortunately, we've seen time and time again that people have had games taken out of their library, games taken off the internet, servers get shut down, things just, happen out of our control. So it says Stellar Blade director Shift Up CEO Kim Hyung Tae, whatever it is, has declared he sees no need to regulate adult mods for the game's recent PC release, emphasizing a philosophy of player ownership and creative freedom. See, again, based. And you could do as much or as little modding with your game as you enjoy. I personally don't mod most of the games I play. I've modded like maybe 2 of them. But I like the idea that somebody's saying, hey, you should be able to do whatever you want to. If you're playing the game that you purchased, just go for it. He also said Stellar Blade is rated as unsuitable for minors, so I don't think there's any justification for regulating such mods. Again, 100% true. You're playing a game that's rated M or, rated T or whatever your game is that you're playing. If it's not for children, you shouldn't worry about protecting children. His support for modding comes with a gentle nudge for modders saying stay within reason, avoid antisocial or harmful content. Again, I'm not sure if that's a translation difference, like if there's a different word for that in Korean, but he said he expressed a hope that the modding community would explore beyond cosmetic changes, such as new costumes, to create mods that enhance gameplay. That's something I think that we could all definitely benefit from, or maybe make the story a little better. I don't know. I played Stellar Blade for another hour and a half last night. I don't know how far into the second level. And I don't know, every time that Eve sits down at one of those little campfires and is resting, talking to Adam on the drone, I'm like, yeah, no. Shiranui? I'm just gonna butcher it, dude. I'm so sorry. Oh, man. But yeah, again, we've seen this kind of stuff before, and this is the reason that this game sold 1 million copies in the first 3 days on PC, which is funny because Lies of P also hit 3 million copies sold, and I believe that this is a combination because the Switch 2 just came out and everything else. I don't know if it's on Switch 2 or not, but they gave away Switch 2 consoles to all their employees, just like we saw Shift Up do. Again, these games from these Asian studios, in this case, South Korean studio, South Korean publisher, is just doing insanely well. Okay, sure, I knew it. Got it. Development staff behind Lies of P are set to receive numerous bonuses as a result of hitting a big sales milestone, which is hilarious because if you look at this in comparison to what's going on in like the rest of the Western world and the modern AAA gaming industry, it is insane to compare these. So you've got Shift Up, 3 million copies sold, gives his employees bonuses, gives his employees Switch 2 consoles. Same thing happens with Lies of P, right? Same exact thing. I want a Lies of P and Stellar Blade crossover. It wouldn't shock me if it happens, dude. Just maybe keep wishing because I think it might happen. Then you have this shit right here. Embracer lets go nearly 2,000 employees in the last year. Microsoft cutting thousands more jobs after just laying off 6,000 people. And then you get to today. Splitgate 2 developer 1047 Games holds layoffs. Dude just came out. Hey, Empress. This game just freaking came out, like what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Splitgate 2 launched, and they're already laying off employees, all right? Now, the crazy thing is, this could be layoffs related to development teams that they don't have as full-time staff, could be people that they don't need around anymore, like it could have been a special group they brought on just for part of the game or whatever. But it's a bad sign, because the game is still sitting at barely positive reviews. Those games sell 2 million to make money. Western games can't make money selling, well, because they spend too much money. It goes back to the same problem. But yeah, Splitgate 2 has been seeing this since it launched, this crazy downward trend over and over and over again. Now again, multiplayer game, you would think that at some point they'd peak back up, but this is just steadily dropping. It's absolutely insane. Orlin Gracie has followed. No, that's not a real person. Not a real person at all. Thanks, Kick. The entertainment industry in South Korea is the new Western Hollywood. Pretty much, you're getting better products out of these Korean studios than we're ever getting out of Hollywood anymore. It's insane. But yeah, Tekla, you hit the nail on the head. The problem is the money that they're spending is absolutely unreal. Like, massive amounts of money to not make any money on these games. Lies of P is, from what I've been told, it's another Souls-like, okay? And it's like a dark fantasy twist on like the Pinocchio story. And so it seems really interesting. It's something that I really want to check out at some point. But you know, I've got a shitload of games that I have to go back and play. Like my back catalog has gotten massive. I mean, it's getting bigger every day. No pun intended. It's huge, right? I just don't have time. But the game's peak has gotten lower and lower and lower every day for like the last 3 weeks almost. To the point now where, like I said, they're laying off people from the studio. And is that Kick again? I think that's Kick again. I don't know if that's a real follower or not, so I'm not even going to address that one. In 2025, the gaming industry has seen a significant number of layoffs. The exact numbers debated. Early forecasts predicted around 9,769 layoffs. Monster Hunter Wilds dropped. Oh, dude, the Monster Hunter Wilds thing is insane. That is absolutely crazy that the game is now overwhelmingly negative. Well, I guess it's optimization issues, among other things, that the game is still not running well on PC. I don't know if there was one thing, because, guys, I've been so busy. I'll go through the course of my day, you know. You're from YouTube. Okay, there we go. An actual person on Kick who's not a bot trying to sell me viewers. You know, the funny thing is I was borderline, like, on the verge of, like, just deleting Kick and Twitch, because I'm so fed up with it. I'm so done streaming to multiple platforms and just having the same bullshit every single night. But, you know, it's like, you know, I have the platforms. I'll just multi-stream. I'll just stream to all of them. And if anybody watches on those other channels, great. If not, I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, so it says in a post on LinkedIn, thanks to Xbox Air for spotting it, the company's official account says that they had parted ways with a small group of valued employees. It says, we're still perfecting the Splitgate 2 gameplay experience in response to community feedback, and we're redirecting resources to build the best game for our players. We're sad to see our teammates go, and we're actively working to help them secure new opportunities. In addition to the layoffs, it was said that 1047 Games co-founders Ian Prohl and Nick Begame, I don't even know what the hell that name is, Begamian, have opted not to take salaries as they lock in to deliver the next phase of the project. Thank you to those who've built alongside us. We are sad to say goodbye and would not be here without you. To everyone who's playing Splitgate 2, we're continuing to work hard to deliver more things we know you'll love. We're committed to building this game for the long haul. Well, the long haul's not looking so good because the game is dropping peak every single day. Again, just a matter of weeks, and you went down from where you could hit 20,000 players to where now your peak is 10. Capcom does not care at all about the same old song. Totally forgot about this game, and I'm not surprised at. Well, the thing is, again, didn't have time to make a video on it because I've been so freaking busy with baseball. But the CEO came out and said, I have the Make FPS great again hat because it's not a political thing. It's I truly want to make first-person shooters great again. Then he said, I'm not going to apologize for it, but I'm sorry if you were offended. Then he said, you know, I am sorry about it. The message was there, but it didn't stick the landing. So it's like, it didn't even matter because he said he wouldn't apologize. Then he did apologize, and nobody's playing the game anymore. Now, I get it. There's other platforms, but like we've seen with all the numbers from like Stellar Blade and all these other games, Steam is the largest single platform, I would argue, that you're going to see the largest percentage of people playing on when a game launches multi-platform. There's going to be specific deviations to that. Games that start off that are like a Sony exclusive, for example, or Nintendo games. Nintendo's, I mean, they have their own ecosystem essentially. But most of these games that are targeted to cross-platform, all different, you know, platforms, you're going to see your largest percentage, I would argue, on Steam. It's the single biggest digital, you know, storefront on the entire internet. Hey, Burner. You say sorry to the woke you've done what the woke mob wanted you. Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't matter. Saying sorry to the woke mob is never going to get you customers. They're never going to forgive you. They're not going to go buy your product afterwards. All you're doing is basically cutting off your nose to spite your face. It won't help you sell copies of your game, you know? Yeah, and now they have their victory. They have their pound of flesh. They're not going to play the game. And the people who are like, don't apologize, are also going to say, screw you, you shouldn't have apologized. And so they're not going to play the game either, which is indicated by the numbers. I mean, look, I tried playing Splitgate, the first game. I thought it was okay. I played it for a couple nights, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. It seems like a decent Halo-type game with portals, whatever. And then I just kind of moved on my day. I went back to Apex Legends. I went back to better shooters that were out there, right? So this game was supposed to be like better than all these other shooter games that are existing because this guy loves first-person shooters so much. Great. I'm glad that he loves first-person shooters, but his marketing has sucked for this game. It has absolutely tanked his actual fan base, and again, there's a lot of people who just downvoted the game because they are mad at him, people who genuinely didn't like the experience. So, you know, a lot of people have been playing Dune Awakening. Is that one an MMORPG? I can't remember. I think it is. Let's see here. What else did we have? Oh my god. Oh, this is a good one, guys. I know most of you guys prefer having de novo free games, no DRM as much as possible. I think that's admirable. For sure, it definitely has been proven to affect gameplay performance for a lot of people. But here's a weird one. PC Gamer is shitting on GOG, the storefront, because they accept donations or tips when you buy a game. So, I don't know how most of you guys feel about this, but this is an article from PC Gamer, because PC Gamer sucks ass. And it says, GOG now accepts donations when you buy a game like it's a charity or something. Oh man, FatCon, yeah. Well, the thing is, they're not going to be looking at me if I go. Kata and Atreus, they're that chocolate meat, you know, that dark meat that them big women are into, so I can hide behind them and nobody will ever see me. It's a good survival builder, but the end game is PvP and the PvE players are not happy about that. Wait, the end game is PvP? That's messed up. That's crazy. So it says, sure, some people think games cost too much these days, but what if you think they don't cost enough? It says, the rising cost of video games is a common concern among those who play them. Witness, for instance, the upset over the prospect of an $80 Borderlands 4. But what if you think games don't cost enough? What if you, the concerned consumer, want to pay more? You can now do just that on GOG, which has implemented a new system that enables users to donate to the site like it's a charity or something. Oh, count me as the grenade. You want to be able to tip the devs? Well, you'd have to go find the actual developer to do that. GOG's donation system has nothing to do with the devs, unfortunately. It says, the donation system strikes me as more of a tipping system, although that's splitting hairs. Brought to our attention by Reddit is really quite simple. When you go to pay for your purchase, a separate window gives you the option to kick in a little extra in preset amounts or whatever you feel like paying. Keep game preservation alive, it says. Video game preservation is an ongoing effort. Any additional amount you add to this order helps to fund fixes, ports, and DRM-free releases. Now again, the DRM-free part of it is a big deal for a lot of people, and this is why people do buy games at GOG. So I wouldn't treat anything that he writes seriously. No, Andy Chalk has had some of the most retarded takes. You are not wrong, Tekla. It's pretty funny to watch. These donations are tied to GOG's preservation program, which aims to keep old games running on new hardware even when they're no longer supported by the original developer. But the option to pay extra applies to new games as well as old. Well, again, that's just a standard checkout screen default thing. So him saying that is a retarded complaint. Unless they go through and try to, like, you can't even do that. You can't disable a tipping feature or donation feature on your checkout, on your checkout screen just because, well, we don't want to include these games for the donation side of it, but these games, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, GOG has no DRM and they're trying to preserve games. Let's see. So it says here, I tossed Larian's brilliant, groundbreaking RPG Divine Divinity into my cart, and then the also pretty good Baldur's Gate 3, of course, tongue-in-cheek there. And in both cases, I was asked if I wanted to pony up a couple bucks or more for the cause. Again, this is a standard checkout window. They're not going to try to figure out a way to disable this based on the game that you purchase. They also assume if you're using GOG anyways, if you're purchasing a game like Baldur's Gate 3, you might also be purchasing a game from their older catalog of games that they've tried to preserve. Just saying. I'm not defending the action or attacking it or defending it. I'm just saying this is just common sense, right? This past year, we brought more iconic classics back to life than ever before, and we estimate that tens of thousands of games risk vanishing unless someone does the licensing, engineering, Q&A, and long-term maintenance, a GOG rep told PC Gamer. Those costs sit entirely with us. Rather than the raise prices for everyone, we're giving the fringe of players who care about preservation a simple way to chip in. The whole amount goes directly to GOG. There's no publisher split. So, again, if they're actually preserving games like they say they are, and they're using this as a way to fund that, I have no problem with it. Yeah, I've been trying to buy all my games on there to support it. Unfortunately, not too many games go there. That's a big problem for a lot of people. The catalog being too small is something that's always going to affect people's willingness to shop there, you know? Altruistic veneer notwithstanding, it all seems a little weird to me. GOG has never been a big moneymaker for CD Projekt Red, but it keeps its head above water. So here's what he's doing now, is he's dictating how much money they're allowed to make or spend on this, right? He's going to say, well, this belongs to CD Projekt Red, and CD Projekt Red has tons of money, so they can afford to lose money on this preservation program, and they should just suck it up and deal with it, right? More to the point, though, it's not my problem if it doesn't, right? It's not Save the Whales or an underpaid server at Benny's Beer and Burgers. It's a for-profit distribution platform run by one of the most successful game studios in Europe, a company that pulls in millions of dollars in profit every quarter, even without any new games to release. I'm going to donate to them. Oh, and see, this is it. This is that contempt. And I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that GOG, I don't know, because you would think they would defend it because CD Projekt Red is a very media, PR friendly because of their political and ideological leanings kind of company. But this idea about preserving games and making things better for gamers is an anti-games media stance. So GOG finds itself in kind of like weird waters right now because it's connected to CDPR, but seemingly getting shit on by gaming media. You know, it's a really interesting thing. Let me see here. It says, I was thus genuinely surprised by the reception of the new donation feature on Reddit. Instead of a sharp slapdown of the grasping hand, most respondents, and there are admittedly not many at this point, seem happy about it. A few have already donated, and one person actually expressed hope for more ways to donate. They don't have to be tied to a game purchase. Just give them money for the hell of it, I guess. This guy is so salty, it's hilarious. Fair enough, I guess. I'm not opposed to pre-ordering games, and I think Kickstarters can be great. So if you want to fork over even more of your hard-earned green to large, wealthy corporations for no particular reason except that they're asking nicely, well, have at it. I think I will not, however. I really dig GOG, but the CD Projekt Red group reported profits of more than $120 million in 2024. I reckon it could squeeze a few bucks out of that to keep the lights on if it really needs to. Oh my god. Those charities at burger joints are far more likely to misuse funding. So many I've looked into. Dude, the thing about charities is that they truly don't ever, like, they donate like this much of the money that gets donated to the actual charity, and everything else goes to the board, goes to funding other stuff. It's absolutely insane. Go to FatCon with me? Who are you telling to go to FatCon with me? You want every games journalist to lose their jobs? Here's the thing. There are a few decent ones. From what I've pieced together for the last couple of years of covering this stuff and reading articles, Insider Gaming appears to be the only decent games media site left that doesn't just put out trash where they attack customers, attack gamers, attack fans of different franchises. Insider Gaming is like the only, I would say, mainstream games media company or site that doesn't just spend their time shitting on and hating on gamers. Everywhere, all the rest of them, PC Gamer, Kotaku, Gizmodo, all of them, they just despise gamers. This is the funniest thing. Andy Chalk, check some money for whales over at FatCon. So the funny thing is you have some different responses in the comments down below here. This one got a lot of replies. It says, if they'd spin off the preservation effort into a nonprofit, I'd be super down for this. As it is, I have no way to earmark the money for preservation efforts. So as much as I like GOG, I'll have to pass. But hang on a second. I'm eating my own beard here. This is disgusting. I'd go to FitCon if it wasn't all supplement companies. This guy says, this game preservation thing is a grift and y'all fell for it. I support GOG's preservation efforts mostly by buying games from them, which you know that's how that works generally. Let me see here. Then you got this guy here who says, I was thus genuinely surprised by the reception of the new donation feature on Reddit. Yeah, you haven't seen how many people develop cult-like indoctrination to their hobbies. That's a fair point. To be honest, there's a lot of people, especially with like the Nintendo fanboys, who just defend things tooth and nail left and right. Most games I've bought there have been from a couple of bucks to a few cents. I would gladly chip in for a DRM-free platform preserving retro titles. Let's appreciate what they're doing instead of doing cheap entertainment pieces. Do you always treat requests with no obligation as burdens? The whole tone of this joke of a piece is wildly off. I really don't think game preservation is something a gaming journalist should be this whiny against. Like, most of your article sounds a lot like you don't understand what the tip is for and are pretending it's just giving money to GOG for no reason. Is that the narrative you're trying to sell? A lot of you are about the author snippet makes it sound like you should be a fan of this. Hey, Mari. Yeah, you actually own the games from GOG. That's 100% it. Where's HealthyCon at? It's as far away from FatCon as possible, most likely. Yeah, it's not news, it's an opinion piece. You'll be shocked to find out that reviews aren't peer-reviewed for objectivity. At least it has something to do with PC gaming. Everyone seems to be okay with them writing about things that have nothing to do with PC gaming, even though the site is literally PC Gamer. If you won't donate, just don't do it. GOG is really doing great stuff. It's like donating to a museum. If this was reported as an opinion or editorial, then maybe I could get past the gigantic sentiment of, I don't like this, so you shouldn't either, that permeates throughout the article. Or something, I guess. But it's listed as a news piece, so then simply report the facts and leave the opinions to the comments. This is no better than the Reddit post you're farming for content. Let me see this one here. As much as I don't love paying for more for things, I think GOG's preservation efforts are actually praiseworthy. Games that everyone assumed were dead or abandoned forever have come back to life because of their efforts. I'd rather donate to GOG, a website that's dedicated to keeping older games running on newer hardware at great prices, with an entire setup that is probably the most consumer-friendly one on the radar, than PC Gamer or its parent company that sells clickbait garbage articles like this for clicks. Femboys? Oh yeah, well, there's a lot of those too. Let's see. Tipping is a uniquely American thing, born from the culture of capitalism. Okay, for God's sake. Yes, I'm not a big fan of tipping either, but blaming everything on capitalism just gets kind of old after a while. But yeah, getting pretty much roasted in his own comment section here is pretty hilarious. GOG is the only consumer-friendly store out there right now. If putting an optional tip box there helps them avoid chopping off the parts of the store that makes them special, that seems like a fair deal. But again, his entire argument is, well, they're connected to X company, and X company makes X or Y or Z number of dollars. Therefore, they should just spend, more of that money that they've made from this part of the company to offset this part of the company. But when again, it's not even required. They're not saying, if you don't tip, we're going to raise our prices. They're saying to anybody who wants to throw a few bucks in with their purchase that goes directly to the preservation, part of it, have at it. It's such a freaking disingenuous, but again, it's Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer, so it kind of makes sense that it's so disingenuous. Let's see here. No, not that one. I was looking for a different article. Oh, there's a fun one on Taylor Lorenz, guys. We got to talk about. Babe, did you hear about this Roblox stuff? I'll tell you about it later. It's hilarious. Even Alyssa Mercante got in on this, but I don't even care about talking about her. It's a different company for a reason. Yeah, I mean, go figure, right? It's almost like just because two companies are tangentially connected in some way, they're still separate companies. Shocking, right? Absolutely shocking. Grab this head. What are you talking about, Lithian? Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk on comment. Oh, I think I remember seeing something about that now. I've always liked Nathan Fillion, although I don't watch him in very much stuff. Why would people working over at GOG see any of the CDPR money? They won't. But you got to understand, looking at this as a person who gets paid pennies for his trash articles, who hates everybody that he writes articles about, and hates everybody who's like the main customer base of the games industry, he's going to look at this and be salty about it because he's like, why are you giving big mega corporation money when you could give me money directly instead? And it's like, these are, I don't know if I'd call him a communist or just a left-wing shill or whatever, but the guy clearly is a little butthurt about that. So here is a fantastic one, guys. This one is hilarious. So Taylor Lorenz put this tweet out there on June 18th, a couple days ago. And it says, on Monday, I reported on an anti-ICE protests taking over Roblox. One of the kids I interviewed texted me this morning to share that Roblox protesters are now facing police violence. Now, she's not talking about actual police violence. She's talking about police violence in the video game, okay? Also, by the way, Taylor Lorenz, fantastic looking website you have here, whatever this is, usermag.co/your handle. This looks like absolute shit. It says kids are protesting against ICE in Roblox. Synthetic fame, dad tats, soft clubbing, black market, labubbit. I don't know. She puts all this crap in here because she's trying to be like hip and down with the Gen Zers, and she's like 45 years old. Honk, shoe maxing, grandma hobbies, layoff culture, the Zoran Mamdami Twitter effect, Apple's mosh pit problem, and no King's Barbies. Whatever the hell all that jargon there means. Not even going to pretend. It says, recently Roblox players have been conducting virtual ICE immigration raids. Roblox players dressed as ICE agents have barged into other players' houses. They have arrested a user hiding in his kitchen and chased down another player while conducting border patrol surveillance. Roblox ICE agents hunted down a young player in his bedroom. Now, the funny part here, guys, this is a tweet that she was allegedly sent from a child, a minor, a kid. I don't know the name or the age of this person, right? But it says, hello, I was in a Roblox ICE protest, but then we all got shot by the police. Okay, with a little sad face. Yeah, all right. So even better than that, here is the TikTok video. Now I don't use TikTok, but we're just going to. Why is this not available? Oh, okay, my internet was crapped out a second ago. This is the TikTok video that she uses as part of the reference for this article. Okay, just you guys have to understand. You know, Mari, typically if I stream on Fridays, it's a game or something. I've just been so busy. I played Stellar Blade on Wednesday instead of having a guest on Wednesday. My streaming schedule is all over the place because my kids still have the baseball stuff going for a couple more weeks at least. So technically right now I'm supposed to be making a video, but I am so tired. I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to stream instead. Kids are much smarter than the adults who cause trouble to others. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, man. All right, so make sure the volume's loud enough. This is the most pathetic thing I think, honest to God, I've ever seen. This is pretty brutal. Okay, can we do full screen, or is this is TikTok? We're just stuck with this tiny little screen here. I apologize. Why is there no sound? All right, it's supposed to have. Oh, it's muted by default apparently.
The movie at my crib when all of a sudden I heard a knock on my door. So I'm like, I know the raid's going on now, so I checked my room. It's fucking nice. So I fucking hid in my room. I locked the door because I was super scared. Like, I couldn't handle all this shit going on right now in the world. And then she was trying to bang on my door. I was like, oh hell no, they're gonna take me away from my family. But then, like, I got too scared, bro. They said they're threatening me to do a lot of bad stuff to me, so I was like, oh fuck. Mom,
What I don't understand, this is not a child speaking. This is not even a teenager speaking. This is like a full-grown ass man's voice on the video. All right, Mari, have a good night. This is the most bizarre thing I have ever seen. Like, this is not a kid speaking in this video. This is a grown ass man.
I get taken away from my family, but I had to open the door. And then I opened it, bro. I didn't want to go at this point, but he kept smacking with the bat. And to a point where I had to go. And then he told me to go follow him. Started following him. I looked forward, but then he told me to look the other way, because, you know. And then I looked, and I knew this was the end.
But then I looked and I knew this was the end. Oh my god. At least he's not on the street acting like I get that. But I mean, like, holy shit. She actually used that as evidence or as a reference in her article about this, that of course she paywalled, because why wouldn't she paywall this? It's either supposed to be satire or an animation of a quote, but ridiculous either way. I know, Blithium, but the thing is, if it's like commentary or satire, she's using it as like actual proof of the thing happening in her article here, okay? Not to mention, it's a freaking video game. If you want to dress up as a police officer and fight with protesters in a game, who the hell cares? Like, honest to God, who cares, right? So, of course, Ethan calls out Taylor Lorenz for her tweet about texting a child participant from the anti-ICE Roblox protests. He's like, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life. Also, Taylor, why are you texting with a 9-year-old at 3 a.m.? Now, I don't know where he got the age, obviously. That's kind of him just saying, it's a child. Why are you texting a kid at, 3 a.m.? But yeah, the time on the freaking message is 3:08 a.m. I don't know if Roblox is hilarious. I've never played it. Personally, I looked at Roblox and I'm like, yeah, this looks retarded. I'm not touching this game. But yeah, nobody was harmed. It's a freaking video game. I just can't even. It's so insane. What else do we have? Oh yeah, this is a good one, guys. This one doesn't hit home too hard for me because I didn't play Duke Nukem as a kid. But Adi Shankar, the guy who gutted and ruined Devil May Cry and Castlevania, has acquired the rights to Duke Nukem and plans to develop a project. Mahendra, it's the craziest thing with kids nowadays. Like, my kids are in bed at a reasonable time every night as often as I can. If they don't have like a late baseball game, or if we're not like out late for some random like sporadic thing, my kids are in bed 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at the latest, typically the same thing every time. Some of these people, like, their kids nowadays are up all hours of the night and they don't give a shit. It's the weirdest thing. Couldn't be me. Oh yeah, no, dude, they're not leaving it alone. So again, the article here from Esquire, I skipped this is a very long article with him talking about Devil May Cry. I skipped down here where it says, what do you have coming next? He says, I've got video games in production. Obviously more Devil May Cry. I'm being approached with different IPs and companies that want to work with me. I bought the rights to Duke Nukem, not the gaming rights, but I bought it from Gearbox. And they asked him, what's your vision for Duke Nukem? It's a middle finger to everybody. When Duke Nukem blew up, a bunch of people sat around trying to turn it into a brand when it's just a middle finger. Duke Nukem can't be made by a corporation because the moment a corporation makes Duke Nukem, it's no longer Duke Nukem. I don't intend on having anyone tell me what to do on this one. But again, this is the same guy that tried to portray demons in Devil May Cry as like Iraqi war immigrants and refugees and shit. Like, it's morning, 11 a.m. here. Oh yeah, no, it's freaking 11 p.m. here. You're 12 hours ahead of me. Yeah, I know adults play Roblox, but there's also a high percentage of adults who are on Roblox looking for little kids. I'm just saying, there's a lot of those too. Roblox has a massive problem with that. Where did he get the money? All that money that Netflix paid him when he did Devil May Cry and Castlevania, I guess. I don't know. I mean, clearly the guy has money if he can just buy the rights to a property like that to make an animated show with it. I don't know. I don't know how much money he's worth. I've heard nothing but terrible things about the Devil May Cry show. Once in a while, somebody will say like, oh, the show was really good if you just don't take it, like the original game into consideration. But 3 p.m. there, damn. Mexicans? You mean he got the money from Mexicans? Yeah, Roblox is just an avoid at all cost zone, 100%. I don't let my kids play it. Of all the games that they play, that's the one that's like, my kids have Fortnite and all the other shit. But Roblox, I just never really was like comfortable letting them get into that game. Because yes, Mahendra, exactly. It's got so many of those. Last story I have for the night. Looks like I've got this one. Hey, you betray your own name. This is an interesting one. Nintendo Switch 2 third-party developer claims that sales were below our lowest estimates. Now, I know there's been a lot of people covering this. I know that Fertanga has been covering a lot of Nintendo news the last couple of weeks. He's been salt mining very effectively. Third-party games for Nintendo Switch 2 are reportedly underperforming as players flock towards first-party games like Mario Kart World. Honestly, this doesn't shock me because, for example, CD Projekt Red has said that Cyberpunk 2077 has done very well. I think it's like the largest third-party title that's launched on the Switch 2. But you're talking games that have already been out for a while. These aren't like brand new games that are suddenly, being on the Switch 2 on launch. They're games that already existed, Oh, he was trying to portray demons as Mexican immigrants. Well, the thing is, he was doing like an early 2000s George W. Bush, Afghanistan versus the U.S. military situation. That's the way I saw it in a lot of the footage I saw, was that's kind of the way it was being painted. So maybe it was to like sympathize with Mexican immigrants, but it felt like, the early 2000s George W. Bush, Iraqi shit, or Afghanistan shit, It's because of the keys, yeah, 100%. They didn't give much choice to third-party devs on physical cartridges, right? Well, they want everything on the game key. Have you guys seen the crazy shit what Nintendo's doing with like the MIG switch? So I guess the MIG switch is something where you can back up your physical copy of the game you purchased to a backup little cartridge, right? As I understand it, it's like making a copy. So I guess if Nintendo detects that, they will not brick your system as in, fry it. They will ban your account, lock your Switch 2 from being able to access the internet, shut down your ability to do a system restore or like anything to try to like you basically you have a $500 paperweight at that point. Is the craziest thing. Who just randomly says Mexicans? Yeah. Buy few years old games for full price. Yeah, what a deal. No thank you, Nintendo. 100%. Yeah, no, Nintendo wants to go all digital, I think. That wouldn't surprise me. Especially given the fact that they now have this, like, the whole key cartridge thing instead of actual game cartridges and shit. It's the weirdest thing. The whole Switch 2 situation is totally fucked from top to bottom. That's the way I feel about it. And it's like, I would have loved if it was a reasonable possibility for me to, like, hey, for my kids for Christmas, pick them up, Switch 2 and get them a couple games. But looking at the way that Nintendo is going about this, I can't feel like I said, the biggest problem Sungran Studios had was when he basically outed himself as a Nintendo shill and not somebody who was truly looking out for gamers and the consumers. It painted a target on his back because all of a sudden people realized, oh no, people are going to simp for Mega Corporation as long as it suits their purposes, right? As long as it fits their needs. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of people have done that because it's Nintendo. And I get it. I grew up on Nintendo. I mean, I have a lot of history and love of Nintendo. Nintendo was the system that I had every console up until the Wii. And I was like, I'm not buying something called a Wii, you know? Really whatever, but he tried to present immigrants from here and there as amazing people, although they're also demons. Right. It's kind of like, why are you... This is... Empress, you've seen this with all the Warhammer stuff, right? With all the orcs and all that. Why are orcs being compared to black people all the time? It's the same kind of thing. On one hand, you're saying orcs are misunderstood and they should be good. They should be considered, you know, not necessarily evil because they're also black people. Like, the guy deleted his YouTube account. Sungrand? No, he didn't. No, he's still on there. Unless you're talking about somebody else. I was just looking at Sungrand's account the other day. There's a couple accounts on YouTube who... literally all they do is steal Sungrand's videos and repost them with like very little editing at all, and it's 100% against the terms of service of YouTube. It's straight up stealing content. But yeah, again, that's up to Jarrell over at Sungrand to deal with. You know, Jarrell, he still has 117,000 subs. He lost thousands though in the process when he kind of got outed for being emotional manipulator, gaslighter, all sorts of good shit, you know? So the MIG is like an Evercard, but the carts have an ID and they notice the IDs, they'll ban you. Yeah, it's the craziest thing. But the craziest thing too, Joe Darkness, is it wasn't just ban, you know, your account. If your account gets banned and you lose all the games that you've purchased, okay, fine. Like, you lose access to the games. It's like, let's say your Steam account gets banned and you lose all your Steam games. That's one thing. Okay, fair enough. But your computer, you can still make a new Steam account on. This would be like going a step further, going, we're going to alter your computer to not just IP ban you and to track you, but it's also going to stop you from ever creating a new Steam account at this address ever again. It's like the steps that they took to like double and quadruple down on forcing people, like it's just insane. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I think the guy was a scammer who tried to get attention from the internet. I don't know that we're talking about the same person, Mahendra, because I was talking about Sungrand Studio and he still has his YouTube channel. So I don't know what you're talking about. Nintendo was for kids back in the day, family and shit, and now it's for weird old adults, Nintendo gremlins. Basically, Nintendo simps or Nintendo fanboys at this point, not people like me who I genuinely love, like Legend of Zelda games, and you know, I grew up, I loved Mario, and there's still some franchises Nintendo have that I would absolutely love to play. Like if they made a new F-Zero racing game, I'm not even a huge racing game fan, but I freaking love F-Zero. F-Zero GX on the GameCube, one of my favorite games of all time. If they made a new F-Zero racing game, I would have to be considering a year or two maybe picking up a Switch 2. But the level of like simping and white knighting for Nintendo, it's just been insane, you know? Your Steam account has 500 games. Yeah. Well, and the thing, Mahendra, it's not just an IP address ban with the Nintendo Switch. It goes beyond that. It's like you can't even reset it, and not allowing somebody to do a system restore. You can't even erase all of your data and sell it to somebody else. The thing is literally a useless brick. It won't connect to the internet. You can't do a system restore. You can't create a new account. You can't play the games you have. You can't do shit. You can't do anything. That is the craziest thing with it. But yeah, Nintendo Sims nowadays are like Disney adults, you know? It's the funniest thing. Oh yeah, and they will sue anybody that they have to. That's the craziest part too. Circana Executive Director Matt Piscatella posted on Blue Sky. I love that so many people are like fleeing from Twitter, posting on Blue Sky. Third-party unit share of Switch 2 physical software during week 1 reached just shy of 40%, which is almost double what third-party games did at the launch of the Switch 1. The game business did point out that the improvement over the performance of third-party games on the original Switch, but also explains that it's hard to describe these statistics as positive. That's understandable considering the Switch 2 has had one of the most successful console launches of all time. Yeah, they sold like 3.5 million units in the first day or week or whatever. Just say you don't want to Switch 2. I don't. Let me see. Even wiping the games you bought seems unethical, blocking internet access on it or new purchases on your accounts, sure. Yeah, I mean, Oblivion, you're talking about people that Nintendo, they don't mess around, like, at all. They have, it's not just a zero tolerance policy, it's like a freaking, we're gonna nuke your ass from orbit policy. Time to quit Nintendo? Yeah, Jonathan, honestly, this is something that would probably prevent me from wanting to ever pick one of these up. And I'm not the kind of person, like I said, I barely use PC mods. I never mess with my hardware when it's in terms of like Nintendo or Xbox. I mean, look, I build my own computers, but I'm a console normie when it comes to consoles. I don't mess with the console. I don't open them up. One time I had to fix the disk drive on my old original Xbox. That's been it, right? Unfortunately, it's selling well, yeah. Well, and that's the Nintendo, the people that feel like they can't live their life without buying the next thing. You know, buy the next thing. Consume, right? Says the release of this information has caused discussions over the negative impact of game key cards, which are physical game cartridges that don't contain a game's full data. Yeah, we all know about that. The cartridges are completely retarded. Kelsey Lewin, owner of Seattle game retailer Pink Gorilla Games. I wish you'd go there if I pick. I was saying I could at least pick up Kata and Atreus at the airport if I don't go to FatCon with them. We could go to Pink Gorilla Games. Said that game keycard sales have flagged. Says we've had very low expectations carrying these in store, but can anecdotally confirm no one is buying these. Nico Partners Director of Research and Insights Daniel Ahmad is less bullish on the idea. Says, I hate to break it to people, but I refuse to buy a game for my Nintendo Switch 2 if the physical version is not on the cart. Crowd are both a minority today and will be an even smaller minority in 5 years. Yeah, basically saying get used to not owning your own games, right? I love it. I love how anti-consumer these people are, and they're basically saying, tough, deal with it. This is just the way the world's going. Like, I wish that Steam, this would be quite the endeavor. I wish that Steam was able to acquire and ship physical copies of every game that they sell. Can you imagine if Steam had a physical, not storefront, but, you know, had a website where you could purchase the physical games through them directly, or GOG or any of those other, storefronts? Because I actually recently, when I put my GPU in the computer, I reinstalled my disk drive. Not that I ever play games off disk, because everything I buy is on Steam. But I started thinking to myself, like, maybe I should start researching a little harder before I just buy a game on Steam or whatever. Maybe once in a while picking up the physical copy of games that I actually like, right? Games that I actually play. They all say that until they experience what it means. Yeah. My mate at work has Switch 2 and plays on Game Pass. He's the problem. He knows it. Yeah, granted, I wish they could do that. That would be fantastic. But again, that's just a pipe dream. Steam will never do that. Valve will never do that. It's not the way that things work, you know. Some games do an HW profile on your system, and they'll ban that profile, so you'll never use that PC for that game ever. E.g. Delta Force. I didn't know Delta Force did that. That's very interesting. We should tell Gaben. I'm sure somebody has already floated that idea to that man at this point, guys. And see, Tekla, here's the thing. It's really funny. So I agree with you about Game Pass, which is ironic because I've been using Game Pass for a long time. But I've also received pushback when I've talked about it, about how Game Pass is both a good value for the customer, but also a long-term net negative, given that it pushes more people towards playing games they don't own and games that are strictly streamed or digital than acquiring physical copies of games and actually owning your games, right? On the flip side, people are like, but you've always been able to rent games. Renting games has always been an option, which is true, but I do think that there was a slight difference between going to a box store and renting a game on a cartridge or a disc for a week and then returning it when you're done with it, versus a digital only, borrowing your games platform. I don't know. Maybe there's not much of a difference. Maybe I'm just biased because I look at it and go, you know, one, you can still at least go get a physical copy of the game. On the other, everything's digital, you know. I love that I can play games without being hostage to Windows. Oh, are you on Linux? Or are you talking about because of Steam? Let's see, Chorus haven't gotten anyone's interest at heart. You just have to look at the call center people that work from home. They have to have webcams on yeah, exactly. They have to be able to prove that they're working, you know. Oh man. It's just a lot. And unfortunately, like I said, I've wanted to cover some of this Nintendo stuff. I just haven't had time. But you know, there's a lot going on. They'll say anything to seem normal. That is also true. Netflix diluted the content with cheap stuff we don't want. But let me ask, is there honestly... Okay, with that comparison in mind, because that's something I know Fratanga has talked about, a lot of people have argued in favor of as far as Game Pass goes, is there any difference between a box store renting you a copy of a game or a movie for a week or a day or a month at a time? Like, okay, Netflix used to do physical discs. They would mail you physical discs, right? And then when you were done, you would send it back and you'd get a different disc. You'd put your queue of you know, movies or TV shows that you wanted to watch. And when you were done with one, you send it back and they send you the next one in your queue. Is there any difference between renting physical copies of something to watch, things you don't own, you're paying... Again, Netflix was like a service you're paying for because you pay like a monthly service and you can get as many as you want, but you have to return them before you can watch the next one. Is there any significant difference at all between that and something like Game Pass? I mean, you're on Linux, been using it with your top-of-the-line NVIDIA, very happy with it. Oh, very cool. Yeah, one of these days I'll build a PC on Linux. I just have had this whole... I mean, building a PC to begin with was always kind of daunting. Now that I've conquered that multiple times, Linux is the next frontier I have to cover, you know? Let's see, you can pick any new content to rent versus only what they give you. True, but then you also have to... Well, I don't know about that because, again, Netflix didn't have every movie known to man to rent. You still had to, if you're still using Netflix to get your physical copy of your rental from, you still had to pull from whatever the library Netflix had available was. Even then, at your office, some companies will track your ID, showing that you're at your desk. Nice to be treated like cattle. Holy shit, Joe. Here's the thing. Even when I wasn't my own boss, I couldn't imagine like living in that kind of environment where you have somebody like with their thumb up your ass the whole day, you know, tracking everything you're doing. It's like those Amazon drivers, right? Those Amazon drivers have that kind of shit going on day in and day out. You know, Tekla, that is a good point. At the time where you're renting games from box stores, box games were widely available, right? I would choose to rent a physical thing that I can touch any day. True, but then the other beauty of that, Jonathan, was that when you went to Netflix, or not Netflix, when you went to like Hollywood Video or Blockbuster and rented a game, it was a 50-50 shot you were going to get a game that has scratch on it and you couldn't play it. So there was that issue as well. Other rental places were an option. That is true. That is true. It's very similar to the original Netflix model. I was thinking Blockbuster, yeah. Blockbuster, though, you got to remember, Oblivion, not everyone in the chat is as old as we are. And I say we, knowing that we might be 10 years apart, but still. Why do you think they have mouse movers on Amazon? Mouse movers? What's mouse mover? What is that? Why do I know that? Still second. Yeah, I don't know how that leaderboard thing works. Honestly, I've given up trying to figure out how it tabulates points. Yeah, no, that was the thing though, is back in the day, you could go to Hollywood Video, you could go to Blockbuster when it came to used games. Because again, the best thing about Hollywood Video is they had Game Crazy, and you didn't rent your used games. You went and bought them. You got them way cheaper. Have to prep to get the puppies out? No worries, I'm gonna be out of here in a minute anyways, Empress. You're older? Fair enough. Although, other than the gray hair that's kind of creeping into my beard, I'm not as young as I look, but I definitely look older when I grow the facial hair out. Mouse mover fools employees tracking you, so I never use them. Automatically move. Oh, you mean like people who are working like desk jobs and stuff where they're working remote or whatever. Yeah, to make it look like they're actually doing something with their mouse. Yeah. Which puppies? No, she's talking actual puppies, you sicko. Stop gooning. Stop gooning, man. Come on. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just a lot. And unfortunately, Nintendo is not helping themselves. Like, their public image is as low as it's ever been. I mean, suing Pal World over the Pokeball shit. And then the $80 games for, like, Mario Kart World. The $70 editions of their Nintendo Switch 2 edition of games that are 5 years old. I mean, hell, the fact that they can put a game... Okay, so for example, Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade came out a year ago on PS5. For $60. Today, or this week on PC it launched, or however long ago it was, $60, right? But it's a 1-year-old game. Nintendo Switch released Breath of the Wild, which I think is like, what, a 2018 release, like 7 years old at this point now, for $70, because it's the enhanced version, right? Let me see. Today, this is the first time I've interactively participated on a live stream. Oh, thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Well, I'm not giving up on making videos. I'm just super tired and been very, very busy, and YouTube's been making it very hard to stay motivated all the time when I'm exhausted to try to make videos. But I appreciate that, dude. Really, I do. Friend used to always say she needed to let the puppies out when she was tired of wearing her bra. Yeah, I knew that's what you were thinking, Oblivion, for sure. Mail Company demoed Terramine just to have an old website that's some 1984 stuff. Yeah, the whole tracking everything you're doing, tracking your eyes, tracking your mouse, all that shit is just it's insane. It's inhuman. And I get it. Like, I believe that if you're getting paid to do a job, you need to be working your hardest, getting, the most productivity out of your employees as possible and everything else. That's all well and good. But they go to extreme levels of invasiveness these days, it seems, Very, very crazy. Yeah, have you not seen Empress's dogs? I think she's had them on her streams before. Breath of the Wild looks beautiful on Steam emulator on PC. Mahendra, I don't use a single emulator. When I say that I just don't mess around with that stuff, I really don't. I've never used an emulator. I've barely used mods on my PC. I don't use anything like MIG switches or anything like that on my consoles. I'm straight up, other than the fact that I built my own PCs, I'm straight up a normie, like when it comes to all that kind of shit. But, one of these days, if they never actually get a freaking remaster of Ocarina of Time, like that should have been the Nintendo 35th anniversary shit. They should have had Ocarina of Time remastered or remake or something. I'll have to look into that Simu thing then. You played Persona 5 on your phone? By fluke, you've only ever seen the Pomeranian? I think the Pomeranian's the only one that I've seen also. Jess, Moxie Dame, she's got like 3 pugs or some crazy shit like that. And I used to have 1 pug, and the sounds in the background would get insane. And my dog would be like walking around, to be snorting the whole time. You couldn't hear anything over her. It was insane. You do love Breath of the Wild on Switch, though. It's lighter and it just feels right. Oh, sure. I mean, the games, it's not that Nintendo's games aren't good. It's not that the ports aren't good. It's not that they don't know what they're doing. It's just the anti-consumer practices that we're seeing from Nintendo lately that are disappointing. That's really the saddest part. I've not seen the fan remake, Mahendra. Everyone always tells me, oh, but there is a remake. I'm like, it's not an official remake. It's not an official remake. Stellar Blade's not banned, Candace. It was a mod that got removed from Nexus Mods for no apparent reason that gave one of the characters bare legs. And it kind of ties into the whole thing we talked about Nexus Mods getting purchased by a different company. Nobody knows what they're going to do as far as, like, predatory monetization or more censorious, you know, moderation of their mods and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was a Stellar Blade mod that was banned. Not even anything spicy. It was just a mod that had bare legs. That was it. When he was a baby, it was easier, of course, but now he's as big as me. My dog is impossible to see on stream because he's black as night. Where is he at? I don't even know where he is. Well, Nexus was always woke. I kind of feel like I should wake up the little cat and put her on stream. She's gonna be pissed as hell if I do that, but oh well. I'm gonna grab the little kitty. Hang on a second. My big cat, I don't even know where he is. Her big brother is twice the size that she is. I'm gonna grab my small cat. She usually gets up when I'm done streaming anyways. But yeah, this is my little girl right here. And then her big brother is pretty much exactly like her, except twice the size. She's about 6 pounds and he's like 12. I'm surprised she's not screaming right now. He's hiding in the shadows. That dog, let me tell you, my dog, basically I adopted him from my mom. He is a Poodle Shih Tzu Yorkie mix. They call it a Shorkie Poo. I hate the name. And I was never a fan of like any of those breeds of dogs. But he grew on me pretty fast, you know. He was definitely he was one of a kind. I know you're getting mad now. It's because I rubbed the belly. You've never had a cat? Oh, that's fluffy like that. British short hair. Very expensive, very fluffy, and despite the short hair name, they still shed like a bitch. No, Candace, I've been playing through Stellar Blade for the first time. And other than, you know, you can definitely take some of the outfits and do like upskirt shots and all sorts of stuff. But I'm just playing the game. You know, I'm literally just playing the game. It's nothing super sexual. It's nothing like crazy raunchy or anything. It's just like, it just is a matter of people are going to play the game however they want to play it, you know? When I saw what's her name on the Last of Us TV series, who, Abby? Oh, are you talking about Bella Ramsey? Yeah, the potato, the human potato. Yeah, so like I said, she is about 6 pounds. Her brother is a freaking beast. He's a chungus. And he's absolutely, yeah, huge. It's not even a loyalty thing, Mahendra. It's the weirdest thing. It's like when I played First Descendant, all the jigglage and stuff, it's like it's there. I just don't really care or notice it that much, you know? 2 cats and a golden retriever, and they used to torture that dog. Well, so the small dog that I have is about the size of my big cat. And the funny thing about him is the dog and the cat, my boy cat, they'll chase each other through the house. Like, he acts like he's totally irritated by the dog, but then he'll start chasing him back and forth. She just stays out of the middle of it. She has no use for it. If they run past her, she might swat at them like one time, but she just has no use for it, you know? Much rather play a game with good-looking characters, but I do not play raunchy games. Yeah, I mean, there are certainly a fine line. There are games where you go, okay, this is pure smut, whatever. Yeah, but there are tons of manly like girls you can choose. Abby, yeah, but not even going there. The main female character, yeah. So again, that was part of the revisionist part of Last of Us, was that DLC that made Ellie gay, and then of course casting Bella Ramsey to play her in the show, and making Abby such a like a butch dyke looking character, like a man in the second game. Like, that was, yeah, there's so much going on there. All right, guys, I'm gonna hit the hay. I gotta travel tomorrow night, a little bit out of town for my daughter's softball game. It's from 6:30 to 8:30, but we have to get there at 4:30. And then if they win tomorrow night, we have to go back again Sunday night, the exact same time. And that's not even like my oldest kid's team hasn't even started playing yet. We still have another week of practices. And then we have to start traveling and playing. But I got a cool hat and a polo shirt for the team, like the official coaching stuff. So that'll be fun. That'll be very interesting. Abby's character model is male. Yeah, pretty much. Using to wait for the dog to move past the sofa and then jump on her back. Yeah, that's cats. That is cats for you. Cats are evil. Well, Mahendra, for my daughter, I'm not one of the coaches. I'm just going to sit back and watch. You know? I'm just going to sit back and watch and hope that she wins. Because this is the All-Stars part of it, they're very strict. Parents are not allowed to interact with the kids during the game. Coaches can't talk to the kids during the game. Like, they can coach them in the dugout, but once the kids go out on the field, they can't say anything. It's basically just put them out there and you wish them the best of luck. So it's going to be very, very interesting. You have to make a 48-year-old truck roadworthy. Dude, you know, the one thing in my life that I don't know anything about is cars. I've always said I'm not a cars guy. I love guns. I love computers. I love technology in general. There are things I have to figure out with software and hardware and all that kind of stuff. So I could learn to do cars. I just don't have a love of cars. So for me personally, I just never really felt a need to learn. One of my older brothers, he could fix anything. And so if there was ever a car issue, he could take care of it. And he had all the tools, you know? So I never had to worry about that. Oh yeah, thanks Jonathan. I'm hoping that she wins too. I want this to go a little bit longer. Oh, thanks Empress, I'm gonna try. I want this to go at least a few more weeks. I want my daughter's team and I want my son's team to at least experience a win in the All-Stars program. I don't want it to drag on for a month. I just can't do that. It's just too long. Like, baseball season was long enough as it is. My daughter came second in the championship, had to play a double header, 9 hours of that. It was miserable and emotionally draining. I just need sleep. I need rest. You just need a truck. Yeah, Blithian, I need a truck too. Sadly, I don't own a truck. I own a Kia and a Ford van. So, not exactly, they're cheaper than a truck. Trucks are so freaking expensive, it's not even funny. Trucks are so unbelievably overpriced. Like, holy shit, new trucks these days. Hell, even a low mileage used truck is unreal, the amount that they charge for those. I can't even. Toyota Tacoma, I like Toyotas. I like Toyotas as cars, as trucks. I think they're pretty cool. Actually, I've known people that have owned Toyota Tacomas. They're pretty cool little trucks. Obviously, they're not like a Dodge Ram 3500 or some craziness like that. Like, my brother owned, at one point, he had like this early 20s urge to get the most macho truck he possibly could, and he got like the Ford 350, or it might have been a Dodge 3500. I can't remember what make it was, but it was a dually. It had 4 wheels in the back, right? And he ended up spending so much money on that thing, actually got into an accident with it pretty early after he got it because he didn't know how to drive it. And it's like, dude, come on, man. Oh yeah, dude, no, trucks are nuts. Used cars are worth nothing in Japan? Really? That's crazy. Like, you can like purchase them for next to nothing? That'd be good to know, because over here, used cars, if you buy them private party, you're still going to cost a decent amount. But if you try buying a used car from a dealer, it's going to be like buying a new car. My Kia, my Sportage, I bought used, and it's still going to take me like 5 years to pay off. It's the craziest thing. Longer boxes and 4-foot width. Yeah, you know, honestly, I need it to be like something that's, so I can drive big vehicles, but I prefer not to. Like, I miss my old Kia Soul. Kia Souls are so awesome. I know they're the little hamster car. It's kind of a joke. They're a meme, but they're so much fun. And despite their tiny appearance, you can fit a lot of shit inside a Kia Soul. Bit of a car geek too when it comes to small and practical. Yeah, I love small cars. I love cars that are easier to navigate. Yeah, no, I've never dealt with trying to sell a car private party ever. I just don't want to mess with that. It's not worth the hassle, not worth the headache. I typically will trade in a car for like, get a little bit off of a new, you know, loan or whatever, but Ford Ranchero. All right, guys, I'm going to hit the hay. I'm not going to be streaming the rest of the weekend because presumably I'm going to be getting home at 10 o'clock at night the next 2 nights in a row. Gonna try to get some videos made though. I don't even know when I'll have time. Maybe I'll try to make some tomorrow before we go to the game. I have no idea. So it could be a very, very barren weekend on my channel the whole weekend. Hopefully not, but we'll see, guys. Oh yeah, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Matt, Adam, Empress, Oblivion, Joe Darkness, all you dudes, Shiranui, all you guys. Especially given that I'm so infrequent with like my schedule and all that right now. So I'm gonna try to get back to some consistency once life gets back to my normal summer craziness with work and all that. Once baseball is officially over, I'll be able to get like a one good night's sleep and breathe and kind of get reset. So I'm going to catch you guys next time. If nothing else, look for the stream on Monday. And guys, make sure that you've got notifications turned on. I've been hearing from Cage over on Discord. He told me that he didn't get notifications for like the live stream the other day, like even though he's got it turned on. So I know YouTube's messing with my channel with the algorithm. I've already made my peace with that. But if they're messing with notifications and subscribers too, just it's weird. YouTube's acting up for a lot of people right now. I've seen tiny channels talking about it, and I've seen massive channels talking about it. So I know it's not just me. 32 Celsius there. That's pretty warm, isn't it? Oh, we'll have a good time. It's going to be fun. Jonathan, the fact that I don't have to coach her team and I can just sit there as a spectator after a long season of being one of her coaches and just watch, it's a massive blessing. It's still going to be stressful. I mean, seeing your daughter pitch trying to win a game is stressful, but yeah. All right, guys.